Hey, what's up? So I wasn't actually planning to talk about this, but it keeps coming up. And well, actually, nope. Let me fix my audio. Man, it happens all the time. There was a quote in this article about MindsEye and the sabotage and this interview and stuff, and the specific quote is what I wanted to talk about, and I'll get into some other stuff too, just because I really did enjoy this game very much. But the quote that really stood out to me and made me want to even talk about this at all was hold on, I should have had it ready already. Was that it was the this is Gerhardt. I don't. He's the new CEO, or I don't know if he's new or if he was always there or whatever. But he's the new lead, I guess, owner guy. And he said that we know it was the worst launch in history, which I'm just like, wait, what? Look, MindsEye had a bad launch, but I can't even think of it as the worst. Off the top of my head, I think of Cyberpunk 2077 as one of the worst, and there have been many really really bad launches. Even Anthem could be considered a rip. Anthem was just another thing like this where it's just the sheeple hate. It's just sheeple hate, man. So what's crazy about this story to me, that quote made me even want to talk about this. I thought it was really funny. I was like, come on, man. It makes me mad because I'm like, every time I see a developer say something like that, I can't help but think that they're only saying that to try to relate to the player, to make them think we're on your side. Like, it's just, to me, it's nonsense. I prefer developers being honest and calling out morons, and it's not what they should do. I'm not saying they should do that. I just prefer it if they're gonna do it. Like, that's what I prefer. I prefer honesty. I love seeing it when a developer goes off, and they often, most usually, if a developer ever says anything that they shouldn't tell a player because of PR, whatever. They usually end up deleting those comments. Usually 99% of the time. There was a developer, Rogue Shift, Carmageddon Rogue Shift. That's the only time I've seen a developer be consistent, not just one, but like 3 or 4 of them consistently badmouth the players on the Steam forums, and rightfully so. I thought they gave proper responses, but they were also calling out the trolling. They were like, "Screw you, you're full of crap," basically. And that's oversimplifying, but I loved seeing them talk back to players because I could see that they were just being honest and they weren't taking any bull crap. That's all, man. But no, it's not the right thing to do. The way you sell yourself is you just say what people want to hear. That's how the world works, and I don't go with that either. That's nonsense to me. I don't do that. I'm not interested in garbage. That's dishonest and it's nonsense to me. So anyways, so that was what I thought of. I just thought it was funny. I was like, look, I get it, and I can like appreciate developers acknowledging that they made mistakes. But you don't have to go so far as to be like, yeah, you're right, it was the worst launch in history, especially when it's not the worst launch in history. It's just not. It MindsEye had issues. But worst launch? Man, I think even Diablo 3 had a worse launch. There's so many games. I don't think about them. I know I've been through it many times, and MindsEye was definitely not. As far as popularity, worst popularity, like bandwagon, one of the worst. That, Forspoken, oh hell, I don't. Even Days Gone had it pretty bad when it first came out, and now you won't see that kind of bad mouthing about that game. It's funny. Now it's popular. Days Gone is really popular. The majority of people that talk about that game now love it. But when it was new, it was trashed on hardcore. Anyways, so I did actually write some notes because I was reading through this interview, and it brought up some comments I was thinking about, but that was what started that for me. I was like, dude, worst launch my butt, dude, it's nonsense. So one of the notes too, he mentioned how, like, apparently there was a narrative. Now I don't remember it being a big deal or anything, but I do remember I thought about it and I was like, I remember a couple people, like, it was kind of said here and there, but it wasn't big. But apparently people were calling it the most refunded game or whatever. And then they talked about the stats, and he's like, look, man, it was pretty normal. It was like 2.2% on Xbox of refunds and 3.2% on PlayStation. That is pretty small for refunds. So I just thought that was funny. But yeah, that was the point, was he was saying that was just narrative. But I don't remember that being a big deal. I just remember everybody just crapping on the game. That's all. nothing really real. It's the same old for any game that gets heavily hated on. They say the same thing over. There's no real like feedback about that stuff. It's just it sucks. Well, it just sucks. Oh, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It's just like, okay, you're a bunch of idiots. Anyways, the thing that I didn't really care so much about the whole corporate sabotage. I've been looking at it a little, and I even looked at it again recently because I was like, they're still like following through with that. They're still going at it like that. I think it's silly, and the reason the corporate sabotage thing could be real. I just don't care. I'll tell you why. It could be real, and if it is, that sucks. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if it was. I wouldn't. I would not be surprised if there was some kind of agenda, some kind of campaign that went at them. I wouldn't be surprised. But I also don't think it's needed because I've seen the normalcy of the sheeple. I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. Anthem was the one that was my breaking point. That because I had seen it before, but that was, for me, that was the worst I'd seen it, as far as like not worst launch, but the worst amount of hatred out of nowhere, like just bandwagon to hell insanity, man. I couldn't believe how bad it was, especially for a game that was so good, like so good, so good, like holy crap, man. I don't know. That's just the weirdest thing. So yeah, that was my breaking point of like, I was like, I just wrote about it a bunch at the time. I was like, I gotta say something because this is just stupid, man. And that's also part of when I started calling people idiots in my reviews, and I just started attacking people because I'm done. I'm also not taking any more shit. I used to be a nice guy. Oh no, you're all dead to me, man. Generally, like, you know, like whatever, man. If you don't get it, then you don't get it. That's fine. But I'm not taking any more crap, and I'm going to call out stupidity because it needs to be called out. And this bandwagon sheeple stuff needs to be called out because it's freaking nonsense, and it's constant, and it's everywhere, man. It's insane. I can understand like regular complaints about a game having issues with. I have plenty of issues. Look at my reviews for Watch Dogs, Marvel's Avengers, Diablo 4. A lot of my recent reviews, not all of them, but a lot of them, at least half of them, if not more, were loaded with praise and also plenty of complaints. Assassin's Creed Shadows, plenty of complaints. I love that game, but that's because that's I'll talk about all these things. Like, I still love a game even when it has issues. Like, so that's when you see like a game get massively hated on with no real true reasons, no real feedback, like it's nuts, man. It even happens for positive stuff. Like Crimson Desert is a really interesting example to look at the community there. I can understand why it's split there, because even I said, I was like, if I knew this was gonna be Souls-like, I would never have bought it in the first place. I would not have pre-ordered Crimson Desert if I thought it was even going to be close to a Souls-like. Not only that, if I had expected the movement and the gameplay to play like Red Dead Redemption 2, I would have never gone close to it. It didn't look nothing like that it kind of makes sense too, because the combat by itself in Crimson Desert is so much more fluid than all the regular world interaction. And I have not played since the most recent update. There've been, I think, 2 major patches. As far as addressing the movement and stuff. There have been 3 big updates, but 2, or probably even a few, like 5 updates, but a lot of them were hot fixes and quick patches and fixes and stuff. But there were 2 major gameplay updates to movement and stuff, right? And I played a little bit after the first one, didn't really notice too much of a difference. I did notice the difficulty changed. I was able to beat one of the bosses that I was having way too hard a time with, but then another boss that I still felt exactly the same. But there's been another movement change that I haven't tried yet. I actually don't have the game installed right now because I was like, I'm just gonna wait even longer, man. Screw this. I was like, this feels kind of like an early access game based on the changes that they've made. It does seem to me like they didn't even know what kind of game they wanted to make. I'm like, dude, like, really? Because like one of my thoughts was like, all right, like if I had known this was a Souls-like Red Dead Redemption game, I just wouldn't have bought it. I don't need them to change it for me. So they've been going through that. They have a 50-50 like fan base, right? Like where a bunch of players love all the changes, making it more casual or whatever. But there are also plenty of people pointing out like it's still Souls-like in the later game. Like they rebalanced some of the earlier bosses so that you get through them a little better, you know, early on, right? Kind of makes sense. Usually that's how games roll. Like the early ones are not as hard as the later ones, right? You know. But anyways, point was the movement in combat was fluid, and that's why those combat trailers were incredible. Everything there is so fluid and smooth and amazing, and then the world interaction and the walking and all that kind of stuff was the worst. Was so bad. That was Red Dead Redemption 2 style realistic movement and all that. That has been changed, and I have not played since the most recent one that made it even better. I have seen the comments on it. A lot of people are praising it, a lot of people are hating it. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, because what happened to me, what I saw, just based on the forums, and I read a lot of posts and reviews, game reviews too. It seemed like what happened was at launch they ended up getting the Souls fan base. Souls fans, right? That ended up being their major fan base, and you can see 200,000 players are still like regularly playing that game. I think, even right now, probably. I'll check real quick. But you know, highly praised reviews and stuff, right? So it's a popular game. 157K on right now. But yeah, what is it? Very positive reviews out of almost 40K reviews, and this was mixed in the first 2 days. First 2 days was mixed reviews. And people will point out too stuff. Oh, you gotta change it based on your region and stuff, whatever. For me, it's it's a very heavily positive reviewed game, and that's cool. You know. Anyways, I don't remember why I said it. It's an interesting thing to see that, because it goes both with the positive lovers of the game say the exact same thing. They just call people that don't like it casuals. They trash them, call them stupid, say they're just not real gamers, and nothing real, no real actual feedback about the game. It comes in, there's a mix, right? But it's just interesting because like the heavily like opinionated people don't actually have anything meaningful and real to say about any of these things, negative or positive. It's crazy. It's crazy to see that. So that was my point. It even happens when there's a group of people that are just positive about something. They don't even say anything real or meaningful. They're just repeating what everybody else says, and it's like, it's weird to me, man. It's very weird. And I really do think of everything online as just bots, because they all say the same thing. If they're all going to say the same thing, how am I supposed to think these people are human? Anyways, but it's just funny. But and sad too. It's weird though, for sure, man. What's especially weird to me is that it happens for the positive side of the opinions on these things too. It's almost the same as the negative, right? Like when people just this massive hate fest on a game, you don't see anything different. It's the same comments. They're just saying the same stupid, pointless things over and over again. And the same thing with positive stuff, and it's like, what the hell's going on, man? Anyways, didn't mean to rant on that as long as I did. It just kind of happened. My bad. Let me see. Oh yeah. So as far as the corporate sabotage thing, I don't know, man. I'm curious where that's gonna go. I'm also a little worried because I know that by itself is gonna make people just think they're stupid and hate on them just for that. Even if it's true, even if it's correct, you know, people are already jumping on it like they're just stupid for it. Wouldn't you though? Like if you had any kind of like what you saw as evidence and whatever, and you could tell that something was going on that was just weird, and you're like, you know, this is some bull crap. We're gonna sue these bastards. Wouldn't you pursue it if you could? If you could, I couldn't. I can't sue nobody, man. You know. But anyways, no, I don't think the corporate sabotage itself would be needed because of what I've seen of the bandwagons, as people just jump on stuff they have opinions on that they actually don't even know what they're talking about, like for real, like literally haven't tried the game, never played it, won't ever play it, but will go ahead and repeat everything everybody else is saying. That's what they do. It's for real. Oh, what a crazy world, man. Anyways, they're gonna be relaunching it, and that had given me another thought too. I just lost them right away. So apparently they're relaunching the game, which is weird to me. I remember they even mentioned that like a few months ago, And it's strange. Just I'm like, well, how exactly are they going to relaunch this? The patches have been good so far. I was actually surprised they added a dodge roll mechanic to the game, because I just assumed they would just polish stuff up, right? Like fix it up, polish up some of the issues, technical issues and stuff like that. I wasn't expecting them to actually add new game mechanics. When I saw that because they did it, the shoulder swap was like, all right, I was like, all right, that's not exactly a new game mechanic, so it's cool that they did that. But when they added a dodge roll, I was like, oh, they're gonna bring in some melee next, right? That would be cool. But yeah, so just a dodge roll was cool. What I did think was funny about a lot of the patches, as far as updates, they kept making the game easier, and I was like, not only does the game have difficulty options, but it was already perfectly fine balance wise. Generally, they nerfed a lot of stuff they didn't need to nerf. There was this really cool sandstorm area and part of the story where you're driving through this sandstorm and you can't see. It's really hard to see in. It reminded me a little Mad Max, because Mad Max has something like that too, and it happens way more often in Mad Max. They have like these huge sandstorms that you have to get inside of a building for and stuff. It's pretty cool. And if you drive around in them, you'll get tossed in the car, and you're not in your car. Those sandstorms will toss you around. They can kill you, but if you can survive if you get in cover and stuff, it's great. It's funny, man. Anyways, there was this sandstorm in MindsEye that was really cool, and they actually nerfed it. They made it more visible. They were like, and I was like, what? That was like the coolest thing about it, was like how hard it was to see in it while you're like, it wasn't like a race, but you had to drive through it and stuff. It was neat. And it was brief. It wasn't even that long, and they nerfed it. And I was like, anyways, like they just made some stuff too easy. Like some stuff could use some rebalancing, but all the stuff I was seeing, I was like, dude, like you don't have to make it that easy. Like, give me a break. Anyways, they're adding a new story mission, free DLC, I guess. And this was funny that a lot of people were making fun of them for this. That's going to be about the story of their lawsuit, or their pursuit of this corporate sabotage thing. And apparently they're going to name names. It seems weird. It doesn't seem it. I can agree with the people and understand. People are saying like, well, you're going to do that before you even go to court. It seems like you're sabotaging yourself, right? They're going to put evidence in their game before it's even like settled, right? So I'm not sure if he's just wrong about what exactly they're doing, or if they're just being stupid, because it seems like something you shouldn't be doing, right? I think it'd be cool to do that after the lawsuit takes place, and if you win. Not in the middle of it. But I can also understand being like, you know what, screw it, let's share what's going on. I can understand it, kind of. I mean, it's something I would do, because I just don't care. I don't care what people think. I'd rather agree with people on things. I'd rather people like me, but I'm not gonna lie and pretend for that to happen. Like, no. I feel like, no. I'm not gonna say what you want to hear just so that we can get along. That's not what I'm gonna do. So anyways, I thought it was funny that that's what they're saying they're gonna do. They're gonna add a mission that is I forget how they describe it, some kind of undercover-ish like thing or whatever. And it's going to go into the sabotage story of what they're going through. And so I actually think it's interesting, the story itself, but I think it would be wrong, or it wouldn't make much sense to show any real evidence, or use real names, unless this was already settled and won. And even if it was settled and won, they'd probably still get in trouble for doing that. But that's when I would do it. I wouldn't do it like, I'd put the story there, but I wouldn't name names and put the real evidence and whatever. So I'm curious how that's going to go. It's just a strange thing. Apparently they're working on a multiplayer mode. Now this is what's weird to me, right? Because there has still been layoffs for the company, and I'm like, who's still working then? Like, you've done a bunch of layoffs, we know that. They've had plenty of updates, nice updates too, which has been kind of surprising and cool to see. But so they're still working on it, right? They say they're still dedicated, but that happens a lot. A lot of PR does do that. They'll say one thing and that's not the reality of it, so you just have to wait and see. And it's a good guess usually that they were full of crap, or that it just didn't work out, But I said it even in my review, like, I hope somehow this survives it. But The thing is, like, if this game was going to survive the hate fest, it already would have. I think it seems too late now, but I mean, I could be wrong. There, some of the comments that even the devs have made are like, we're reviews have come back up as far as like regular reviews, even on Steam and stuff. Like user reviews have gone up. I've seen that too. It slowly happened. I watched it. I was like, oh, holy crap, man. I've seen even comments like on different forums, like from Reddit and stuff, and it's still the majority are all hate fest, this and that, whatever. But there are more and more people coming up saying this game's awesome. I don't know what the hell's wrong with people, like right? So that's cool to see. So I'm curious how far this might go, and if they can actually continue to keep it going. Because if they can, that would be good. The potential is amazing with this game, especially with the build mode. He does mention that as well, the user-generated content. There's so much potential with the game, a lot, infinite, with players being able to build their own missions and using the developer tools, and it's good stuff, man. I would love to see more. If this is able to continue, I would love to see more of those the tutorials, the video tutorials, because I think they only did 2 of them. And the in-game tutorials for the build mode are okay, but the videos would be better reference. Whatever, So I would like to see more of those if they can. I'm curious. I really am curious, like how, like who's still working on the game as far as development, right? Like, because they could have got rid of all the people that made this game good, and then like have new people taking over. I don't know what's going on there. Very weird. I would like to see New Game Plus. I remember my first thought was like, it doesn't need it because there's not a whole lot. You don't have like a big old skill talent tree or anything like that. But there's enough there as far as like little bitty upgrades to your drone to want a New Game Plus. Not need one, but that would be cool. And photo mode though. I want a photo mode in this game, man. I want a freaking photo mode. All right, so last thought real quick. This is a related game, but not MindsEye. I thought this was funny because like that part of the news as well is that since they've been pushing forward with this corporate sabotage stuff, I'm not surprised at all when I saw the news about IOI Interactive separating from the company. They're like, we don't want to be part of this drama. Screw that, you crazies, right? Whatever. But what's was really funny to me. This is when I saw that the new Bond game looks amazing. Is IOI Interactive. The new Bond game looks so good, and it actually reminds me of MindsEye. It looks like it's a different version, right? But it's a third-person shooter. It looks really good visually too. When some of their first announcements on Steam, like they're posting news, right? Their first multiple announcements were all celebrity things. What they have? Who's the guy that they have? One as a musician, and he's gonna be a villain in the game. Some dude I hadn't heard of in a long time. I hadn't heard of this guy come up in a really long, like 20, 30 years ago, man. I can't remember his name right now. It's so funny. But he was a big musician, and he's going to be a villain in the game, right? And they keep doing this. They just like a day or two ago announced some rapper I've never heard of. A rapper is going to be in the game too, like a DJ villain, I guess, or whatever. So what the new Bond game is selling off celebrity stuff. It's selling celebrities. We got all these celebrities in it. And I'm like, I even left a comment. I'm like, you're selling celebrity. The game looks good. You could have nobody. You could have nobody. No recognizable characters. Nothing other than just Bond. Right? We all know Bond because the name Bond. But you don't need to sell celebrities in that game. The game looks freaking awesome, man, but that's what they keep doing. They keep doing this Hollywood like celebrity status thing. So I'm over here like they have no place trying to separate themselves from mine. I'm just saying, like, they're trying to act like they're so much better or whatever when they're pulling that crap. It's disgusting to see, especially when that game looks so damn good. It's disgusting to see them selling celebrity. I'm like, dude, this is nasty. Anyways, I had a couple other thoughts that slipped my mind during this. I was hoping they would pop back into my thoughts as I was talking about these things, because I could say a lot about MindsEye. I did like the game. I'll link to my review of it. And I'm really curious where this is gonna go. I can also understand some of the perspective, like people saying this is just a PR stunt, right? Like them still pushing this is just trying to get attention so that people will keep playing their game. But I mean, I don't know, man. Oh yeah, that was another thing. Now I remember one of the things. I can kind of believe corporate sabotage type thing because I saw this with what game was it? It was a recent game. I don't think it was Crimson Desert, but something. Oh, Highguard. Weird, man. So I can understand the some of the responses to that game not living up to the so-called hype or whatever, right? Mainly because it was the final reveal trailer, the game show thingy, right? But that also got a deep amount of hate, like vocally, right? That's not normal. It's normal now, right? Which is weird to me. It's weird. It didn't used to be normal. Like we're talking about games before they even launch. Before they even launch, it's just everywhere. Everybody shitting on it, right? And this has happened with many games. Dragon Age: The Veilguard did not deserve the hate fest. There are some things I don't like about it, and I'm not a fan of that whole gender thing, whatever. I think it's stupid as hell. But that game's good, man. It's a good game. The one complaint I can understand people having is people saying it's not the same as what it used to be. It's not Dragon Age anymore, because I used to say the same thing about Final Fantasy and Resident Evil, and I still like the newer games, sort of. I have a preference for the older ones, but I also don't play them. Like, I probably would still be playing Resident Evil if they no, I mean, my taste changed too over the years, play different games and stuff like that. But I did prefer the first few games in the Resident Evil series. I preferred Final Fantasy as a turn-based game back when I used to play a lot of turn-based games. But now I would say I do, since I prefer the hack and slash action games now, I'm a little more interested in playing those, but I was very disappointed with Final Fantasy 15. The remakes are okay. I do think Rebirth is better than the first one, but I still haven't beaten it. I lost my mood. I got to the the ocean, the sand beach resort place, and I hated that in the original game. The whole part I hated it. So when I got to it in Rebirth, I was like, I'm gonna take a break from this game. I'm not in the mood to do this crap. But anyways, so that's actually probably the only complaint that I could see as being a valid or understandable is that Veilguard is not the same Dragon Age that people would have expected, the fans of the previous games in the series and stuff. But as a game, it's really damn good, man. It's really good. Combat's pretty decent. The story is excellent. The visuals are excellent. The music is excellent. Like, overall, it's a really good game. And it has a fan base, though. And I think even, well, I don't know about the dev teams anymore. BioWare's working on like a new Dragon Age. They're also working on a new Mass Effect. So that's got to be new teams, though, right? Because like those games were failures according to the populace, right? Like Mass Effect Andromeda got shat all over. Had issues, but it was cool. I wanted to see that continue, especially like I wasn't super impressed when I first started it, and I could come up with plenty of complaints, I'm sure, but it was cool. Like, I liked it. I had fun playing through it. I liked the story a lot. I really wanted to see the story continue, especially towards the end. The last couple hours especially, but the last few hours it kept it ramped up. It got better, got good. The last couple hours I was like, whoa, I want and then it ended and I was like, what son of a. And then I saw it was gonna be like a trilogy and I was like, oh, no wonder. Okay, that's why it kind of had like this continuation thing, not a to be but I was like, dude, I want more. Like, what the hell. Yeah, and then to come find out that's not going to continue. But they're working on another Mass Effect though, right? So, like, would they get an entirely new team for that? Probably. It's just strange to me. And then the same with Dragon Age. Although Dragon Age I can sort of understand they're doing another, because the Veilguard, while as popularity-wise online is massive hate, obviously it sold well enough and it still has like a regular player base and regular fans. And of course, those fans are of a certain group or group type. They are. They are a certain group type, that's for sure. I'm a fan too, but I'm not part of that group. It's weird, you know. It's weird. It's funny. But anyways, yeah. So like, one of my first thoughts, I even posted on Reddit, and because I don't care, man. I'm not there to get their upvotes. I get downvoted all the time because I'll just say stuff. I'm like, screw you people, you're all a bunch of idiots. And I can't say it that way, you know, right? So I'll get banned or whatever. But you know, I'll say things. I'm like, no, you're wrong, right? You know, whatever, in my own way. But what I said something like, because there was comments about this story going on, like, oh, the sabotage, it's fake, and my guess would be too, but I don't. It's hard for me to believe that they would pursue it so hard if it was fake, if they didn't have anything to really follow up with. Like, it's just weird. Like, that's too much for PR to me. It's hard for me to believe they would pursue it so hard if they didn't really see it as a real legitimate thing. I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. So, you know, I see all these people talking about how, like, oh, they're talking about this group online that, you know, has an agenda or whatever, and they're la la la, but that's all fake, it's bull crap, these people are crazy. And I'm like, no, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's from Veilguard. There were posts on the Veilguard forums before it came out. Multiple threads, man. People saying, yeah, we're gonna destroy this game. It's gonna fail right away, and then we're coming for Marathon. And they were naming other games that they were gonna go after. They were saying, like, different people. They might have. My assumption is that they're full of crap, just spouting their stupid mouths off, right? You know, in the forum sense. But, you know, I've seen that they threaten to take down games. That literally they go on the forums and they're spam. They can see it too because it's everywhere. You can see the hate fest is going on. There are these people out there that are just spitting hate like constantly. It's just like, dude, I just don't get it, man. I have problems with games, but I don't go spamming hate on them and stuff. I have gotten into Crimson Desert, not spamming, but I'll go. I haven't done it for a little while now, but like my first couple of days, I was like, every time I saw something I disagreed with, I would post like, no, I don't, you know, this is why I think differently than you about this or whatever. And it was always something like, you know, I didn't expect a Souls-like, and people would trash on me saying like, it's not a Souls-like because you could spam 100 food on a boss fight. That was their answer for Crimson Desert. It's the difficulty of the bosses, when I think of like Souls-like, is getting one shot, two shot, you know, right? And stuff that you can't really learn throughout the fight itself. You have to keep going back and dying in one hit, and you know, right, to learn the fight. That's dumb to me, and that's a big part of Souls-like. It's not just the fact that you can't spam heal through the whole fight or anything, but that was the number one excuse people would use, that it's not a Souls-like. And again, like I was just saying, difficulty, specifically the challenge of the bosses, difficulty wise, such a huge difficulty spike and very Souls-like in that sense. But yeah, people's excuse with that, you could just spam food, like literally just spam food, which is not a good answer in the first place. Like, I found other people say some of these things better than me, because I came across a comment saying like, that's not good game design, like, you know, right? And I was like, you know, he said it better and stuff, but like, I was like, oh, good. Other people can say stuff that I think, that I just don't know how to put it in the way that they do, you know? Anyways, that's funny. Didn't mean to go on about that too. Oh yeah, but I don't just go and like spam hate, right? Like I'll disagree with people about certain aspects of these things, and I'll actually try to like comment on it. But it is hard to discuss anything when you're on opposite sides. Like you can't. It's hard to discuss it, right? Have an actual conversation, right? But yeah, no, I would just throw my comments in, but definitely not spam hate, making my own threads. This game's gonna fail, this and that, you know, whatever. Like, cause that's a normal thing too. Like, it's crazy the stuff that people spam, man. It's just like, why are you even doing this? Like, I don't know. It's funny. But yeah, no, those people are out there. They're so I could see a real group of people actually going out of their way to so-called sabotage. But like I said, I also don't think it's needed because the internet exists and sheeple are real. There are way too many people that don't think for themselves, way too many people that will just repeat what someone else says. I don't know why. I can't think of a time I've ever done that. Like, just repeated what somebody else said just because somebody else said it. I probably have, but it's never been a normal thing for me to do. And I probably did when I was a kid, you know, like before I grew up. I'm trying to think. I'm like, did I ever be that way? It's just such a weird thing to me, man. You know, very weird. Anyways, yeah. So this went on way longer than I wanted or intended to. I just want to talk about it. I'll link to my review. I'll link to my thoughts on gender identity, stuff like that. I'll put some links in the description. Check them out if you want. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.